I never imagined the sound of a toilet flushing would trigger the worst day of my life. It was 8:42 p.m., her birthday. The restaurant was packed, the kind of place she'd dreamed about for months. Candlelight shimmered off the wine glasses, laughter buzzed through the air, and I stood there at the corner of the hallway, next to the restroom, clutching a velvet box with a bracelet I custom-ordered from Italy. Jessica, my wife of 5 years, had disappeared 10 minutes ago to touch up her lipstick. But I wasn't the kind of man who checked on a woman in the restroom. I had dignity, or at least I thought I did, until I heard a sound, a familiar moan, one that used to be mine, followed by a laugh I'd never forget. Deep, male, cocky. I froze. I swear I couldn't feel my legs. My body just moved, like it knew something my heart was too stupid to accept. I pushed open the women's restroom door without thinking, and there they were. Jessica, bent over the sink, hair wild, lipstick smeared, dress hiked up, and Brandon, her personal trainer, pants around his ankles, smirking like a devil on payday. "Happy birthday to me," she muttered, still panting. I didn't scream. I didn't punch. I just stared. And when her eyes met mine, she didn't even flinch. "Oh," she said, adjusting her bra strap like we were in a damn movie. "Didn't think you'd grow a spine and follow me." Brandon laughed. "Yo, bro, chill. It's not what it looks like." I blinked. "You're inside my wife in a public bathroom. Explain to me how it isn't what it looks like." Jessica rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. We were already over long before this." "No, we weren't." "Then maybe you missed the memo," she snapped, grabbing a towel. "You're boring. Predictable. You think buying me overpriced crap makes up for your mediocrity?" Something inside me broke. But I didn't show it. I just turned around and walked out of that bathroom, that restaurant, that life. And I smiled. Because I knew exactly how I'd get even. That night, I checked into a hotel and stayed up till 5 a.m. Not crying, not pacing, plotting. I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to burn the bridge and salt the earth. But the real fire started a week later. On my birthday, she organized a fake surprise party with her whole smug family at her parents' house. I walked in, pretending I didn't know anything. I even brought flowers. She pointed at me from across the room and said, "You were a mistake to this family." Her brother Nick laughed. "Birth control is 99% effective. He's the 1%, right, Mom?" While they all howled like hyenas, I grabbed my old backpack from the coat rack and walked out. No words. No drama. 5 years passed. They thought I disappeared for good. But I didn't. I built something better. Stronger. I had a business, a new life, silence. Until 2 months ago. I heard a knock on the door. It was her. Mascara dripping. Wrinkled dress. No ring. Behind her, her mom, her brother, even Brandon. They were crying. Begging. "Please talk to us," Jessica whispered. "Please." I didn't say a word. I just stood there in the doorway with the same velvet box I never gave her, still unopened. Because revenge doesn't always come with fire. Sometimes it waits. And I was just getting started. I didn't slam the door. I just shut it slow, like silence itself could slap her harder than I ever could. She stood there on the porch, in the same dress she wore when I caught her. 5 years older, 5 years colder. My silence shattered her more than any insult could. But I wasn't done. I wanted her to feel the weight of every breath I took without her. I walked back into my apartment, clean, minimal, nothing like the cluttered drama of our old home. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and clicked on the folder titled, Jessica. A digital graveyard of every lie she ever fed me. Screenshots, videos, emails, bank statements, GPS records from the tracker I planted on her car the night I left. Yeah, I went full ghost mode. I needed the truth. And I got more than I asked for. Turns out Brandon wasn't her only little secret. There was Jake, her old college friend who took her to Miami for a girls' weekend. There was the bartender from her gym. Even some married dude named Kyle she met in a Facebook group about luxury vacations. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was a serial actress, lying like it was her native language. But the piece to resistance? She had taken a mortgage on my name after I left, forged my signature, took the money and vanished. I only found out when a lawyer I never hired sent a letter about a lawsuit. That's when I knew it wasn't enough to ignore her. It was time to bury her. I waited exactly 2 weeks before reaching out. A simple message. Let's talk. One night. Your place. She answered in 30 seconds. Yes. Please. I've missed you. Bitch. I showed up to her apartment dressed like nothing ever happened. Casual button-up, clean-shaven, neutral smile. She opened the door in lingerie like she thought I came back for one last night of nostalgia. I walked right past her, sat on the couch, dropped the file. A thick manila folder with her name scrawled across the front. She looked at it like it was radioactive. "What's that?" she asked, trying to keep her voice sweet. "Your sins," I said. "Enjoy." She didn't open it. Not yet. She tried the usual act, lip tremble, slow blink, the "I've changed" monologue. "I was lost, Caleb," she said. "I didn't know what I wanted. You were always distant." "I was distant?" I almost laughed. "You were getting bent over a sink while I was planning your birthday dinner." She dropped the act. Like a switch flipped. "Fine," she snapped. "You were weak. I needed more. You couldn't satisfy me emotionally or physically. Brandon listened to me. Kyle made me feel alive. You were a paycheck with a limp." There it was. The real her. I stood up. "That file," I said, pointing. "It's not just for you. Copies go to your parents, your job, the police, because that mortgage was fraud. I came here to give you a chance. You just confirmed you don't deserve one." "Wait, Caleb. No. Please. Don't ruin me." She panicked, scrambling to grab my arm. I pulled away. "You ruined you. I just kept receipts." As I walked out, I heard her crying. Loud. Ugly. Desperate. But I didn't feel pity. I felt freedom. I took the elevator down, stepped into the night, and smiled. Not because I hurt her, but because she no longer had the power to hurt me. And that was better than revenge. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was upset. No. That part of me had died a long time ago, somewhere between hearing Brandon grunt and Jessica gasp harder. I stayed awake because something inside me buzzed like electricity. I wanted her to suffer. Not with yelling or violence. That would have made her the victim. No. I wanted something far worse, exposure. She always loved attention. Lived for it. So I decided to give her what she wanted. I picked her birthday. It was poetic. Last time I walked in on her was her birthday. This time, she'd walk in on me. I called up some old friends. Not mine. Hers. People who used to laugh behind my back, calling me the soft one, the quiet husband. But I had something they couldn't resist: scandal. "Jessica's throwing a birthday bash at the Phoenix Lounge," I told one of them. "Want an early invite? I've got something wild to show you." Within 24 hours, word spread like wildfire. Half the town was buzzing about Jessica's mysterious surprise birthday night, hosted by her ex-husband who forgave her. I knew she wouldn't be able to resist showing up. I booked the venue, decorated it in her favorite colors, hired a DJ, even ordered a cake shaped like a broken heart. But the centerpiece? A massive screen on the wall, and a thumb drive. The night arrived. I wore a sleek black suit, no tie, confidence sharp as glass. People came. Faces I hadn't seen in years, some of them smirking, some whispering, some confused. The atmosphere was thick with curiosity. Then she walked in. Jessica. Hair perfect. That snake smile on her face. She wore a red dress that clung to her body like secrets. She walked up to me and whispered, "Didn't think you had it in you." "Oh, I have a lot in me," I said, offering her a glass of champagne. "Tonight, I'm just sharing." She looked around at the crowd, soaking it in. "So what's the surprise?" I clinked my glass, stepped up to the microphone, and smiled at the room. "Thank you all for coming. Tonight's about truth. About celebrating someone who has inspired many moments of clarity." Jessica's face twitched. I nodded to the DJ. The screen flickered to life. First, a short video of Jessica, giggling in bed, her phone recording her as she says, "Caleb's such a bore." But Brandon? God, he knows how to use his mouth. Laughter from the crowd. Gasps. Her brother looked like he saw a ghost. Her cousin turned red. The bartender from our favorite place covered his mouth. Then another clip. A voice recording of Jessica telling her friend, "I forged Caleb's signature. He'll never know. He's too busy playing the loyal husband." Her mom dropped her glass. And then, a photo slideshow. Every man, every text, every lie. By the time it ended, the room was dead quiet. Jessica was frozen, mascara trembling on her lashes. She looked at me like I had just stabbed her in public. She opened her mouth. But I raised my hand. "Don't," I said. "Tonight isn't about excuses. It's about truth. And you just gave these people more truth than they ever deserved." She slapped me. I smiled. People started to walk out. Some laughed. Some avoided eye contact. Her brother muttered something about disgusting. Her own best friend looked like she was about to vomit. Jessica stood there, shaking. Alone. Humiliated. Perfect. I leaned in and whispered in her ear, "Happy birthday, sweetheart. I hope the spotlight's everything you dreamed of." Then I walked away. I didn't look back. Not even once. In that moment, I didn't feel anger, or bitterness, or even joy. I felt clean, like I had scrubbed every lie off my soul. She took my trust, my peace, my love. But I took something bigger. Her image. Her power. And now, she had nothing left to hide behind. It's funny what silence feels like after chaos. That night, after the party, I didn't go out to celebrate or drink. I just drove home, windows down, letting the cool wind hit my face. The streets were empty. The world didn't know a war had just ended. And I won. I unlocked the door to my apartment, kicked off my shoes, and sat in the dark. No lights. No music. Just me and the echo of Jessica's gasp as the final video clip ended. The look on her face, priceless. Not because of the exposure, no, that wasn't what destroyed her. It was control. She lost it. And that woman was addicted to being in charge, addicted to being adored. Now she had neither. I lay in bed that night thinking about how far I'd come. Not financially, not physically, mentally. 5 years ago, I would have begged her to love me again. I would have asked what I did wrong. I would have cried myself to sleep wondering what I could fix. Now, I just pitted her. Because people like Jessica, they never win. Not really. They burn everything around them and call it power. But when the fire's out, they're left in the ashes, alone, cold, irrelevant. The next morning, my phone exploded. Texts, missed calls, emails, even voicemails from numbers I didn't recognize. Jessica's brother texted me. "Bro, I'm sorry. Didn't know it was that bad." Her mother, of all people, left me a voicemail. "Caleb, I had no idea she forged your name? We need to talk." Even Brandon, the gym rat, tried calling me. Probably worried I'd leak more. I didn't answer. Let them stew. But then came the one message I did expect. "Jessica, what do you want from me? You win. Can we talk?" I stared at it for 10 minutes. My fingers hovered over the screen. Then I typed back one word. No. Simple. Final. Just like the door she slammed on our marriage. 2 days passed. Then 3. I started getting messages from mutual friends. Apparently, Jessica quit her job. Deleted all her social media. Word got out at her firm about the forged documents. Someone from HR had seen the video. There was talk of a formal investigation. I didn't report her. I didn't need to. I just let the truth breathe. And the truth suffocated her. But the most unexpected part? She came to my door again. It was a rainy Tuesday night. I was watching a documentary with my dog, Ranger. The knock was soft, almost timid. I opened it, and there she was, drenched in rain, no makeup, hoodie clinging to her face. "Please," she said, barely above a whisper. I didn't invite her in. "I lost everything," she continued. "My job, my friends, my reputation. You proved your point." I leaned on the doorframe. "No," I said. "I didn't prove a point. I proved a pattern. You always hurt the people who love you. And the only reason you're here now is because no one else does." Her eyes welled up. "I was sick, Caleb. I was. I was chasing attention because I hated myself. I didn't know how to stop." "You don't stop by destroying others," I said. "You stop by looking in the mirror and being honest. And until you do that, nothing will change." "I still love you," she blurted. I laughed. Not loud. Just a short breath of disbelief. "No, Jessica. You loved having me. That's different." Then I shut the door. Not hard. Not angry. Just, finally. That night, I slept like a rock. No dreams. No guilt. No ghosts. Because I didn't just walk away from her. I walked back to myself. And that was the real revenge. 3 days after I shut the door in Jessica's face, I received a letter in my mailbox. Handwritten. No stamp. No return address. Just my name on the front. I didn't need to open it to know who it was from. But curiosity's a strange thing. Even when you swear you're done, even when your heart is finally whole again, that little flicker of, "What now?" still burns. So I opened it. It was written in blue ink, her handwriting unmistakable, clean, neat, like the lies she used to tell with a smile. "Caleb, I know you won't read this. I know you probably tossed it before even opening it. But just in case, I wanted to say sorry. Not the sorry because I got caught kind. The real one. The one I should have said years ago. You were a good man. Too good for me. And I was selfish. I took your loyalty and smothered it. I wanted everything: attention, thrill, admiration. I didn't know how to love something stable, something real. I destroyed us. And I know you don't owe me anything. But if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, not for me, but for you, I hope you do. I'm leaving town. I need to figure out who I am without lies, without masks. I hope one day you can look back and remember the few good moments we had. Happy belated birthday, Jessica. I read it twice. Then I set it on fire in my kitchen sink. It didn't make me angry. It didn't make me emotional. It just felt like the last page of a book I never wanted to finish. The ashes curled into black petals, floating down the drain, just like her memory. Later that night, I sat on my balcony, whiskey in hand, Ranger curled at my feet, city lights buzzing in the distance. And for the first time in years, I thought about the beginning, the good beginning. How she used to sneak little notes into my coat pocket. How she once danced barefoot in our living room to old records, laughing like a child. How she cried when I proposed. And I realized something. She wasn't always a villain. She became one. And maybe that's what hurt the most, not what she did, but who she chose to become. I got a call the next morning from someone unexpected: Ethan, my cousin. We hadn't spoken since the birthday from hell, the one where Jessica and her entire family humiliated me like I was some punchline. Hey, man, he said, hesitant. Heard what happened with Jessica. Can we meet? I paused. Why now? Because I saw it all. The video. The party. And I realized we all owed you a hell of an apology. Part of me wanted to hang up. But another part, the stronger one, decided to listen. We met at a small diner on 9th Street, the kind of place that smells like pancakes and regret. Ethan looked older, heavier, like life had slapped him around a few times since I last saw him. He didn't even order coffee. Man, he started, shaking his head, we were such jerks to you. You were, I said calmly. No excuses, he nodded. We believed Jessica because she was loud, convincing, and we never really gave you a chance to speak. I stirred my coffee. Do you want forgiveness? I asked. I want to earn it. That sat with me for a second. Then I nodded. Good, I said. Then don't just say you're sorry. Be better. That's how you start. The truth is, closure doesn't come all at once. It trickles in burnt letters, in quiet nights, in awkward apologies at greasy diners. But it comes. And when it does, you finally breathe again. You'd think after everything, after the exposure, the slaps of reality, the letters, the apologies, there'd be nothing left to uncover. That maybe the past would settle down and stay buried where it belonged. But pain doesn't just knock once. It circles back when you're calm, when you're rebuilding, when you're finally sleeping without clenching your jaw. 2 weeks after I met Ethan at the diner, I got another surprise. A knock on the door. This time, it wasn't Jessica. It was a process server. A man in a black jacket, maybe 35, with dead eyes and a clipboard. Caleb Morris? Yes. He handed me an envelope. You've been served. Then he walked off like he'd just delivered pizza. I stood there, fingers already itching. Opened it slowly. Read the first line twice. Notice of civil lawsuit, identity theft, and fraudulent mortgage application. And just like that, my breath caught in my throat. Jessica was suing me. Let me rewind. 5 years ago, she forged my signature for a second mortgage. Took out almost 70 grand under my name. I didn't report it right away because, well, I was numb. Then, I collected proof. Saved everything. But I never actually filed charges. Now, she was trying to flip it. She claimed I had applied for the loan without her consent, that I had ruined her credit, that I left her in financial ruin and then publicly humiliated her with doctored evidence. My hands were shaking, not from fear, rage. This wasn't just petty revenge. This was tactical. Someone told her what to say. A lawyer, maybe that dirtbag Brandon. I sat down, opened my laptop, pulled up the old folder labeled Jessica. Every screenshot, every timestamp. Her voice and recordings admitting she signed it. Photos of her filling out the documents in our kitchen. She must have forgotten I had cameras back then. I called my lawyer, Mason. Calm, older guy. Talks like he's already lived 9 lives and nothing can surprise him anymore. This isn't just defense, Caleb, he said after reading through everything. This is a gift. A gift. We countersue. For damages. For defamation. For emotional distress. You've got enough evidence here to bury her and the lawyer dumb enough to take her case. He paused, then added, but it's your call. Do you want to end this or finish it? I looked at my screen. Her face frozen mid-laugh in one of the videos. Mocking me. Thinking she won. I want to finish it. Court took 2 months to schedule. Jessica didn't look like herself anymore when I saw her in that courtroom. Her hair was limp. She wore flat shoes. No jewelry. No smirk. She barely looked at me. But the moment the judge asked her to speak, her voice came alive, soft, calculated, rehearsed. Your Honor, I was emotionally manipulated, gaslit. He controlled our finances. I was scared. It was almost impressive, the performance. Then Mason stood. Permission to play Exhibit B? The judge nodded. And there it was. Jessica's voice from my kitchen camera. Caleb doesn't even look at these papers. I'll sign for both of us. What's he gonna do? Leave me? Please. The courtroom went silent. Jessica turned pale. Her lawyer leaned back like he just swallowed a knife. Mason laid out the rest. Documents, digital signatures, location history, the works. By the end of the day, the judge not only dismissed her lawsuit, he fined her for court fees and approved our counterclaim. I didn't even smile. I just sat there, still. Not because I wasn't happy, because I was finally empty. When it ended, I walked out of the courthouse alone. Mason clapped my shoulder. Justice served. I nodded. Yeah, just took 5 years. But he looked at me and said something I didn't expect. Some people spend their whole lives never getting it. You did. Don't waste it holding on to the ashes. That night, I deleted the folder. The entire Jessica archive gone. Not out of forgiveness. Out of freedom. Because closure doesn't always mean revenge. Sometimes, it's choosing not to carry the damn fire anymore. After I deleted the folder, I stared at my empty desktop screen for a full minute. No files. No backups. No evidence. Just a clean slate. And that's when it hit me, I wasn't angry anymore. Not even bitter. The fire that burned for so long inside me had finally gone cold, and in the quiet that followed, something unexpected filled the space. Peace. Not the kind that hits you all at once like a sunrise. The kind that slowly rolls in, like fog over still water. I didn't talk about Jessica after that. I didn't bring her up at dinners or answer when people asked, whatever happened with that ex of yours? I just smiled and said, old story. Not worth retelling. Some people pushed, especially old friends. They wanted the drama, the juicy breakdown of how I destroyed her in court. But I didn't give it to them. Because the truth was, dragging her name through the dirt didn't matter anymore. She was already gone. And I had better things to focus on. I spent more time with Ranger, my dog, my therapist, my only ride or die from the start. We went on longer walks. I took him to the beach. I sat with him on the couch without my phone in my hand, just being there. I started painting again. Something I hadn't done since college. Nothing fancy, just splashes of color on canvas. At first it was messy, chaotic, like my brain. But slowly, the strokes got cleaner, brighter, more deliberate. It felt like I was taking pieces of myself back, one brushstroke at a time. I also went on a date. Her name was Samantha. We met at a bookstore, both reaching for the same copy of Into the Wild. She laughed when our hands touched. Cliché, right? I laughed back. Depends how it ends. We had coffee the next day, then dinner a week later, then a weekend hike. She didn't ask about Jessica, and I didn't offer. Not because I was hiding anything, but because she made me feel like a man, not a victim, not a story, not a project. Just a man. And damn, I forgot how good that felt. One night, we sat on my balcony under a sky full of stars. Samantha sipped wine. I played with Ranger's ears. The city was quiet below us. She looked at me and said, "You have this calm energy, like you've been through hell and made peace with it." I smiled. "You're not wrong. Do you regret it?" she asked. "Everything that happened?" I paused, watching a plane blink across the sky. "No," I said. "Not anymore." Why? Because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be this man. I had to lose everything fake to find something real. She leaned her head on my shoulder. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like something was missing. A week later, I got one final email. No subject line. No text. Just an attachment. A scanned photo. It was me and Jessica from our wedding. She was laughing. I was smiling. But someone had drawn a big red X through her face. No name. No sender. I stared at it for a few seconds. Then deleted it. No reply. No reaction. Because the past only has power if you hand it the microphone. And I'd already changed the station. In the mirror, I no longer saw the man who got cheated on. I saw the man who walked through fire and didn't just survive. He rebuilt. Stronger, quieter, wiser. Because revenge may feel good. But peace? Peace feels earned. It had been nearly a year since I exposed Jessica. A full rotation around the sun, and not once did I look back. Not on purpose, anyway. Sure, her name came up in conversations here and there, whispers in the corners of rooms, jokes told behind hands, but not in my heart. Not where it mattered. Some scars don't itch anymore. They just remind you of where you've been. That's all she became. A scar. On my next birthday, I didn't throw a party. I didn't need a crowd, or cameras, or poetic revenge plots. I just took the day off, took Ranger for a hike, and ended the evening at a little seafood place on the pier with Samantha. We didn't toast to survival. We toasted to now. That was enough. Over dinner, she reached across the table and said something simple but heavy. "You're not the same man I met last year." Better or worse? I smirked. She smiled back. Lighter. And she was right. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't carrying the weight of someone else's betrayal. I wasn't haunted by lies or fueled by revenge. I was just here. Alive. Whole. Present. After dinner, we took a walk down the pier. The ocean breeze tangled through her hair, and the moon turned the water silver. There were no paparazzi moments, no dramatic scenes. Just two people moving forward. "You ever think about her?" Samantha asked quietly. I paused. Not because I didn't have an answer, because I wanted to say it the right way. "Sometimes," I said. Not with anger. Not with love. Just observation. "Do you think she ever changed?" I looked out at the waves. I think people like her don't change until life forces them to. And even then, it's not change, it's adaptation. She nodded like she understood more than she let on. And maybe she did. That night, when we got back to my place, I saw something in the mailbox. No return address. Again. But this time, it wasn't a letter. It was a small box. I brought it inside, sat on the couch, and opened it carefully. Inside was the bracelet I never gave her. The Italian one I bought the night I caught her cheating. There was no note. No explanation. Just the gift that never found its wrist. I held it in my hand for a while, feeling the cold metal between my fingers. I could have thrown it away. Pawned it. Burned it. Instead, I closed the box, tied it shut, and walked it outside. Down the street was a small homeless shelter with a thrift shop. I placed it gently in the donation box. Walked away without a word. Because I didn't need to carry symbols anymore. Not hers. Not mine. Weeks passed. Then months. No more boxes. No more drama. Samantha and I moved in together. We painted our bedroom navy blue and filled the walls with art we both made. We had lazy Sundays. Loud Saturdays. Quiet mornings. Nothing perfect. Everything real. And one night, while lying in bed, she asked, "If you could go back and change it, stop her from cheating, would you?" I thought for a long second. "No," I said. Because that version of me? He never would have grown. He would have stayed in a lie just to feel loved. She kissed my shoulder. "Then I'm glad she was stupid." I laughed. "Yeah, me too." To anyone reading this, to any man sitting in silence, wondering if he's crazy, if he's overreacting, if he's not enough. Let me say this. You are not the problem just because someone else lied. You are not broken just because someone else couldn't love you right. And you are never too far gone to come back stronger. Let them laugh at you now. Let them mock your softness. Because one day, they'll knock on your door, begging for a piece of the peace they once destroyed. And when that day comes, you'll smile. You'll shut the door. And you'll walk back into a life you rebuilt. Like a king. Because closure isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering who the hell you are.